Yeah, let me take a minute and kind of give you an update of what we've experienced or seen on these kind of prairie lakes. We fished them quite a bit of time over the years, and they're really different than a lot of natural lakes or reservoirs. There's a lot of water that actually looks pretty much featureless. Yeah, you know, and some of the things that these fish draw to, you find rocks, and rocks are not real common. You find rocks, they're there naturally. If you find current, they're there. These fish in these prairie lakes love wind. They love it. They're used to when big winds all the time blow out here, and they program themselves to feed on the wind sides. That's what turns them on. You get mud lines, the walleyes, the bass, the northerns, white bass, they get into the mud lines because of the wind. And they can get extremely shallow in these lakes all year long. You can have a really good bite right up in water 1.5 feet deep and be catching big walleyes or big smallmouth. They like shallow water. So yeah, you know, it's just a little different feel on these lakes than you see on normal, what I would call structure lakes. And the other thing that they like moving baits a lot. You got to cover a lot of water. Why do they like moving baits? These fish move a lot because there's not a lot of spots to hold them. So they tend to move, and you get in an area and you get a bunch of fish in an area. And that could be walleyes, it could be smallmouth, it could be white bass, northerns. Just something to think about when you come to these lakes, because there's a lot of water that looks good and it isn't holding anything.
Many of the lakes in the Dakotas are unique unto themselves. Over the years, we've spent lots of trips out in these two states chasing smallmouth, walleye, largemouth, muskie, and everything in between. One thing I have to say about many of these lakes is they're extremely fertile and can have a tendency to grow a lot of fish very fast. The water table in many of these systems can fluctuate drastically also. We all remember what happened at Devil's Lake. And on an interesting side note, over the recent years, there has been some land disputes, or water disputes, depending on how you look at it. Many landowners in these territories had property that was purchased years ago, possibly farmed for crops or grazing land. And over the last 25 years or so, the water levels rose, and many of these lowland areas that were previously farmland are now lakes. A lot of different species of fish got into these bodies of water, and they grew like wildfire. Many anglers got wind of it and followed the bite.
Wow.
Well, some landowners are disputing the fact that these lakes have accesses and can be fished by anglers. It's an interesting dilemma that the states have to work out. But one thing is for certain, many lakes in North and South Dakota are overlooked fish factories.
It's just amazing. And it's 62. Everywhere else it's been 56, 57. And this is featureless, man. I'm telling you, it is so weird. Like Al was saying, fishing this stuff, you go to these points and they look like, oh man, there should be rocks. It looks great. And it ends up being just sand and there's just nothingness. But you know, you're just covering water, making lots of casts. You end up contacting fish. And like I said, this little pocket here, you would never look at this and say, oh my gosh, this looks like a great spot. I mean, look at the background behind us, but it's warm and there's fish here. Right there, right at the boat.
What are they?
Big, big brown bass. Bunch of them down there, bunch of them, whole pile of them. Yes, yes.
Keep them in there, keep them in there.
Oh, this is a tank. Wow. Spring whitewater. There was a pile of them there. I thought I got bumped, and then it was like boom, boom. And then I saw him. He came up. I just popped her right by the boat, and bam! There's a couple other ones with them. Boy, these are fat fish. I mean, just incredibly chunky bass. They are. Whoa! Mr. Brown Bass, huh? What do you think of that? Boy, these are really, really nice critters. I tell you what, if you want to have a good time catching lots of fish in a fun way, casting and winding, hard baits. This is hard bait country out here, baby. Come out, explore some new water in the prairie country, and catch lots of these and multi-species to boot. What a great critter, huh?